Welcome everyone to today's episode. This is a follow-up on our previous video about generating money opportunities. Welcome everyone, I'm Tanya Vasallo, the founder of The Courage to Be Happy. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about different money generating opportunities. How can you generate cash fast now? So let's start out with things that we have around our home and our office space. If you work for yourself, don't go selling stuff from your employer. So you have stuff sitting around the house. It could be clothes, it could be books, it could be office supplies, it could be art, any kinds of things that we have sitting around the house. And why I want you to look at this, it has several little branches of opportunities of generating money. Is number one is when you go through all your clutter and you declutter, as you are opening up the channels to abundance. That's how the universe works. The universe abhors a vacuum. And so if you are clearing out because you're stuck right now and it's kind of like a hose that has that big knot in it and it's not allowing for flow. So if you're feeling that you're stuck, that money's not flowing to you, that abundance, prosperity is not flowing to you, my number one suggestion is go and declutter. We'll do a whole other video with that, but go and declutter and get your bags ready. You know, you'll have clothes, you'll have books, you'll have art, you'll have jewelry, you'll have a ton of different things, and you can do several things with this. You could create a yard sale on your own, just carve out a weekend and sell all the stuff that you have and see how much money you can generate. The second thing you could do if you don't want to do it, or you could do a yard sale in combination. I just went to a friend's yard sale. They were raising money for women in the film industry because they rent out equipment together. So it was like 3 or 4 of them that put this yard sale together. That's another idea. Do it in combination with someone else. If you don't want to do a yard sale, you can post these things online. You can post on Craigslist, on eBay, sell your stuff on eBay. Excuse me. You can sell on eBay, you can sell on Craigslist, you could sell your arts and crafts on Etsy. You could take your clothes to consignment. There's places where you can bring your nice articles of clothing and sell it on consignment. So think about all the things that you have lying around that you're not using, that, remember, one man's trash or one woman's trash is another woman's treasure. You have no idea what someone else might be willing and wanting to pay or to get from you that you've been waiting for. It might be an opportunity for them. Other things that you can do to generate money. You can rent out spaces. What do I mean by renting out spaces? Well, think about things that you have lying around, like an extra room in your home. Maybe you have a basement and you can just kind of clean it out, declutter it, put a nice little bed in it, and rent out in your Airbnb, rent out a space in your home. I was just talking with a colleague, a young guy, and he's renting out his home that he purchased. He rents out 3 different bedrooms to other colleagues in their 20s too. And he lives in one room with his wife and his kids. But guess what? All those other rooms being rented out are paying for his mortgage. Very smart move on his part. So think about spaces that you might have in your home, or maybe you do own another piece of property that you can rent out an Airbnb, or maybe you can only do long-term rental because that place does not allow for Airbnb. You can do long-term rental. Airbnb though pays a lot more. You will get a lot more cash flow coming in if you can do it through Airbnb. And you could maybe even turn your garage into a new space to rent out, whether it's for living, you know, as an Airbnb, or maybe you're renting out your garage space to someone else that has a fancy car in the neighborhood that wants their car covered, but they don't have a garage space. You could even rent out closet space. Maybe you want to rent out your garage. You minimize because you've decluttered and you've sold your other things. You see how this starts layering up? You take your stuff out of your garage, sell it, or rent it out. Maybe you have old stuff that you're not using in your garage, you rent that out and rent out your garage space. Maybe you can rent it out for an extra 300, 500 bucks a month for someone to park their car there. Or maybe it's you've redone it and turned it into a bedroom. Or maybe it's someone that's paying for a storage unit and you say, guess what? You can store, your stuff in this portion of my garage and I'm going to charge you 100 bucks a month. Like think about, you want to get creative. Here's where you want to, plant that seed in your subconscious mind and say, how can I get creative? Go back to the video with generating opportunities and where our ideas come from and money generating opportunities. So think about all those spaces that you have. Another space that you have is your car. Maybe you want to wrap your car around with some promotion and advertising for a particular company and you don't mind, you don't care if your car is wrapped up with their promo and you get paid every month for that. So you want to start getting creative, like what kind of things can I use? What kind of spaces do I have? You could rent out your car. Maybe, we are in the gig economy. Maybe someone needs a car because they're, maybe you live in New York City or in another big city, or maybe you're in the suburbs and you rent out your car to someone because their car is in the shop. Put an ad on Craigslist and say, I'm renting out my car if you're needing a car for a week or if you're needing a car for a couple days. And then you share your car with your partner or with your spouse or with a friend or a family member so that you don't have to be using your car. Heck, you could even rent out your whole home. Say you're going on vacation somewhere and you're leaving for a whole week. Rent out your whole house on Airbnb. It'll pay off for your vacation. So you want to get creative. Or maybe you live in a town, in a space where there's an annual, tourism of some sort where people are coming into town and are looking, the hotels are all booked. They're looking for places to stay. You have a nice home. You go stay with a friend or you go stay with a family member and rent out your home for a whole week. Like here in Santa Fe, we have Folk Art Festival, we have Indian Market, we have so many different markets and festivals that go on that attract a ton of tourists that you could just rent out your home for that amount of time and then go do something else. And if your home is beautiful and you have like a wonderful home that people might want to rent out for like a retreat or a workshop because you live near something. I live near 10,000 Waves here, the spa, people might want to rent out the space. You could rent it out for a retreat weekend, and you can even write this off as a business expense. So again, you want to start getting creative. What spaces do you have that you can maybe sacrifice a little bit? That doesn't mean a big sacrifice to you, whether it's renting out your home, renting out your car space, renting out your car. Buy yourself a Tesla, rent out the Tesla. That's another way to go too. It pays off for itself. You can write it off as a business expense, and start renting out Teslas to people. Get creative. I don't know what your situation is. I'm just giving you some ideas of what you can do. More things that you can do: pet sitting, babysitting, house sitting. These are all different kinds of sittings that people need. I have a client who is booked this whole summer because she is doing house sitting. She's single. She does not have to tend to her kids because her kids are already grown. And she gets to stay at these amazing, beautiful homes. She changes homes every couple weeks. If you're okay with that and you don't have a big problem living, sleeping in different beds, throughout the month, you can make good money house sitting for people while they're going on vacation. They trust you. You're taking care of their pets. You could do pet sitting or house sitting. Heck, you could even travel. Maybe you want to go to Hawaii and you have someone, friend or colleagues, put the word out there and say, I want to house sit in Hawaii this year. And maybe you'll get a gig in Hawaii house sitting for a friend that has a second home and they need someone watching and managing the home. Maybe you could live there for a whole month because they need the house sitting for a month or two. So just be open, be creative with those ideas. The same thing with pet sitting. People that have several animals that need care. If you love animals, please don't pet sit if you don't like animals. That's like the worst thing you could do, for those of us that love animals. Don't do it if you don't like animals, because people will have cameras and be watching, maybe even with the neighbors, they'll be on the lookout. But you could do pet sitting, you could do babysitting, you could do dog walking. Let's talk about other gigs that you could do. You could be an Uber driver or a Lyft driver. You could do this part-time. This doesn't mean you have to become a full-time worker for Uber, but you could give it a try. It's extra cash a month and see if you're enjoying it or not. Maybe you're an extrovert, you're a people person and you love hanging out, getting to know other people in your town, driving them from one place to another and connecting with them. And it's just giving you some extra cash. You could be an Instacart driver. You go grocery shopping, get a couple different people's groceries and do the deliveries with the Instacart and make some extra cash that way. You can do any kinds of deliveries, food deliveries. Maybe you're even a delivery person for people that need assistance, like someone that's kind of homebounded that maybe can't go out, or in the wintertime, they're older, they're a little bit nervous of like snow and ice and don't want to go out, and you can go run errands for them. So you kind of become a bit of a personal assistant, or task errand driver for someone else, which leads me to rabbit task. You could do TaskRabbit, sorry. You could go onto TaskRabbit, and if you're good at like putting IKEA furniture together, or you're wanting to run errands for someone that doesn't have the time, maybe it's a busy mom, parent, or elder person, or someone that's just busy at work. It could be a personal assistant or even a virtual assistant. Maybe you can make phone calls for different people. I know Fancy Hands offers different VAs and you pay by the task. Make the phone calls for the person, dispute something on the phone for someone that doesn't have the time to do it, or looking up a specific gig for them. You can also utilize and take advantage of the digital information era. We are in the digital world, and you might have all this knowledge, all these different degrees and certifications that you've gotten, and you can go out there and put a digital product together, a workbook, an actual book, a Kindle book, upload it up to Amazon, and you can sell your book on Kindle. You could teach a class online and turn it into a digital product that people can download. These require more work and effort initially, but then on the long run, it can become a passive income for you. So think about how can you package your knowledge, your expertise, and package it into a book format, an online class. You can teach on online class too. And from this areas, think of your expertise and your knowledge, and can you take it onto online? Maybe you're offering some type of services on fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. And you can offer your services there, from proofreading to editing to copywriting, web designer. You can do all kinds of services on Fiverr. It is the gig economy. People don't want to commit to big payments. They want to pay, just the jobs that they're doing. Think about classes that you can teach. You can teach them online. You can teach them in person. You can create a YouTube channel. Start a YouTube channel. I think it's after 1,000 views, you start getting paid with advertising. I'm thinking of other things, selling unused gift cards that you might have. Maybe you have all these gift cards, I don't know, to specific restaurants that you don't like, or Amazon gift cards, just resell them. Let's see what else. Private tutor. You can tutor people online, offline. My mom is a Native American living in Spain, and she's tutoring this young girl. They just do Zoom conversations online for an hour, and it's extra cash for her. And it's just conversation for her. She enjoys the conversation. You could do research for people. Again, you could be a VA, a personal assistant. A VA, by the way, is a virtual assistant where you're doing tasks for people in business that need help, phone calls or sending emails or setting up WordPress or doing web design or copywriting or proofreading. There's so many tasks that you could do online as a virtual assistant, or as a personal assistant because someone needs help at home. I'm a busy mom. Another great thing that you could do is if you're good at cooking, maybe you batch cook, some meals and do delivery of meals. You could be a personal chef, or personal cook and make a bunch of different meals for someone that has a busy schedule or that is not good at cooking and spending time in the kitchen. If you have a good voice, you could be a voiceover for advertising and it pays really well. You could do voiceover for, you could do maybe a podcast. You could also be a content writer. Maybe you're a writer and you have good ideas, or you're in alignment. Maybe you're in the spiritual world or in the cooking world and you have that expertise. You can create content for other people that might not have the time or that are in alignment with what you're doing. If you're a writer, you can write blogs, you can write content for other business owners that don't have the time to do it or might not be as good as that. Again, you could be a proofreader. You could be a professional organizer. Go to your neighbor's house if they're hoarders and they don't know how to declutter their home and say, you know what, I'll spend a full day with you, and you charge them X amount of money, package it, and offer them the package of decluttering their life. So start with your own life, like we started this video. Declutter in your space. So remember, the universe abhors a vacuum. That was a lot of different ideas. So think about which ones might apply for you, of different opportunities of money generating. If this video was useful for you, please share with someone else. Think of 2 or 3 other people that might want to generate some cash in their life right now. Maybe you guys do it together and say, hey, listen to this video. Here's some ideas. And please hit subscribe if you're wanting to look for new ideas, tips, tools, systems on how to generate abundance, how to generate wealth, how to make money, how to create abundance and prosperity in your life. Just hit subscribe. You'll be notified when I'm putting out some videos. And please put some comments below. I'd love to hear what your income generating opportunities. How do you generate money? What have you done that might be a little bit out of the box or different, or that gave you a big chunk of cash in a very short period of time? I'd love to hear what your comments are on that. Again, thank you so much for your time, for sticking until the end of the video. I am Tanya Vasallo. I am so thankful for you being here. A big mwah! And I will see you in our next video. Have a wonderful day.